Hello everyone, welcome back to 4 weeks challenge. Here what I do is I come up with a lot of tips, tricks, techniques, methods, ways of practicing English speaking so that you can become more and more fluent and confident in speaking English by the end of 4 weeks. I have a lot of practice sessions also. I have a lot of conversational videos on different topics, different formats to cover the entire spectrum of the language so that whenever you get a chance to speak in English on any topic, anything, any format, you will be able to deliver. You will be able to speak confidently and fluently. So guys, go through all my sessions and start speaking or start practicing. That is the only way you can become fluent and confident in speaking English by the end of 4 weeks. Well, on that note, welcome back to my channel. I'm your communications coach and a soft skill trainer by profession, and I'm here to help you out with all your communications problems and to help you speak English fluently and confidently. Well, today I'm going to talk about a very serious topic, a very important topic, which is generally ignored. You won't find much of the stuffs available on internet about this thing. We all talk about practice English speaking, start practicing English speaking, speak up, right? So we tell all these things, but we forget to talk about the basics. What will help you to start speaking in English? Where is the base or what is the base? So don't worry, I'm going to talk about in this session today about the basics or the base or the stepping stones which will help you to start speaking in English. Or if you've started also to speak in English, these are the basics. These goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand with speaking. So never ignore this. Pay attention to this. This is the building block or the foundation of any language or how to speak the language fluently and confidently. So guys, if you haven't subscribed my channel, if you want to know more about on this topic, quickly subscribe my channel, like and share my videos, do write your comments in the comment section and press the notification icon. Now let's get started. So I was talking about this main component of English language or main foundation or building block or the base which will help you to speak English fluently and confidently. We always ignore these two things. One of it is completely ignored, which is reading. And the second thing is listening. Listening is not ignored. We all listen. But what we ignore is I'm going to talk about in this session. Okay, so reading and listening are two basics or foundations or stepping stones or building block of how you can speak English fluently and confidently. Trust me on this. I'm going to talk about it in detail in this video, and by the end of the video, you are going to understand what its importance is and how it will help you to speak English fluently and confidently. So let's take the first thing first, reading. Of course, reading is ignored nowadays. We don't prefer reading. Once we are out of school, once we are out of college, we don't want to look back to read anything. A lot of people during my times had a habit of reading books. They used to read books. A lot of people used to read novels. A lot of people used to read storybooks. A lot of people used to read any book like, a motivational book or an inspirational book or a comedy or a comic or anything, a thriller book or any book, right? They used to read. But nowadays, if you ask people, they don't have this habit of reading. They don't want to read. What they do instead is they take their mobile and they start listening to stuffs, right? Everything is online, of course. You find a lot of books online, which is you can listen to audio books, right? There is a provision of audio books also. You can just put your headphone on and you can listen to any book, which is very convenient, which is very good, which is very interesting. It saves your time. There are lots of advantages of it as well. But what actual reading does is I'm going to tell you and how it will help you in speaking English fluently and confidently. That also I'm going to tell you in this session. So what we do is when we read a book, or if we read an article or anything we read, whatever your interest is, take that piece of thing, that piece of information and start reading. So what it does is everything is there in front of you. You can read it out loud. Okay. So when you'll read it out loud, it will help you to focus on every single word. This is the first thing. You'll be able to focus on every single word. Okay. You will be able to pronounce every single word. Whether it is correct or not is a different thing. But you'll get into the practice of pronouncing words in English, which you're not very used to with. Right? You're not very used to it. That is why you're learning to speak English, learning to improve your English speaking, right? So this is an activity. This is an exercise which will help you to speak English. Unless and until you don't know how to pronounce words correctly, unless and until you don't know you don't understand each word, focus on each word, you won't be able to speak English, right? So focus is very important, pronunciation is very important, and by doing this, you can repeat it twice, thrice. It's all on in your hands, right? It's all in your hands. It's not that you're listening to something, you have to pause and again you have to listen to it and again you have to pause. So that is a tedious task, right? We all get frustrated also at times. Like one sentence only, how many times we'll repeat? But if you have a book, if you have a magazine, if you have a piece of information which is there written, it is easy for you to repeat it twice, thrice and focus on the words, the sentences again and again. Okay, so first is focus on each word. You're able to focus on every single word. You're able to focus on the pronunciation. You're able to focus on the meaning of that sentence clearly. You can break it down according to your understanding. You can break that sentence down. In my last session, I've already spoken how you can break it down and you can understand the sentence, right? So the same goes here. You can break it down and you can understand individual meaning of individual words, and then you can join it to understand the complete sentence's meaning. Why I focus on vocabulary, understanding each word. If you don't understand that word, please go and look in the dictionary and find out the meaning. Why I tell you that? Just because by understanding the meaning of each word in a sentence, you will be able to get an idea of what that sentence is about. By joining the meaning of every word, you will get to know the meaning of the sentence. So that is the importance of reading. When you start reading, you will get familiar with the language very easily. Your mouth movement, your muscle movement, your brain will start activate. Your brain will be activated, right? It will be receptive to those words, that language. Okay, so that is why it helps us in the understanding of the language better and grasping the language better, so that tomorrow if you get a chance to speak, you will be able to recall it very well instead of listening. So that is why reading is very important. Pay attention to these things, guys. Vocabulary, the meaning of the sentence, focus on every single word, focus on the pronunciation and how the sentence is constructed. That is also very important, how the sentence is constructed. One more thing I'll add here is, whenever you read a sentence, when you have understood it completely, what you can do is, you can try to, when you've understood the meaning, try to make a sentence of your own, which means the same. I'll give you an example. Okay, for example, I've taken an article which talks about how you can prepare a good speech. Okay, so article reads as, writing an exciting and thoughtful speech requires selecting a good topic, researching it thoroughly, and forming individual opinions to express the same. Okay, now let's break it down. It's a complex sentence, let's break it down. Writing an exciting and thoughtful speech. Okay, so of course a speech should be exciting, which should excite people, which should bind people, right? Keep them excited or keep them motivated to listen to the speech. Okay. And thoughtful speech. Of course, it has to have a content, okay, which will give a thought to people, which will help people to think. Okay. Now requires selecting a good topic. Of course, you have to select a good topic which will have a thoughtful content as well, which will excite the individuals or excite people who are listening to the speech or your listeners. Okay. So it should have a good topic, researching it thoroughly, and forming individual opinions to express the same. Okay, you have to research it. Of course, you have to get more and more knowledge about it, collect more knowledge so that you can speak on it better. Okay, and forming individual opinions, and you have to give your opinions also. Okay, and others' opinions as well to express the same. Right. Now, this sentence has a lot of things in it. So it's about how to give a speech. Okay, it basically tells how you can write a speech or how you can deliver a speech. So what the content has to be in this speech. Okay, so this is the main idea of the sentence. So writing an exciting and thoughtful speech requires selecting a good topic, researching it thoroughly, and forming individual opinions to express the same. Now, this sentence, you can come up with your own sentence also. Okay, so you can say, while writing a speech, we have to keep in mind that it should be exciting and thoughtful. And that's why it should have a good topic, or that's why we should select a good topic. And we have to research a lot about it before presenting it. And it should have individual opinions, probably my opinion or others' opinions also in it. Okay, so this is how I framed a new sentence out of it. It need not to contain every single word which is written in that particular sentence. This was a big sentence, a complex sentence. You can take a simple sentence also. Okay, let's take another example. This time I'm going to take a simple sentence. Okay, here is another sentence. Reading books allows us to personalize and imagine experiences. Okay, so the sentence is, reading books allows us to personalize and imagine experiences. Now, what does this mean? It's a very basic, simple sentence which means that what books do. Okay, when you're reading a book, it will help you to personalize. It will help you to personalize and imagine experiences. So whatever you are reading, it's written so beautifully that you will be able to picturize it or you'll be able to imagine it, right? And personalize it. You can see according to yourself, right? You have the liberty to look at things according to yourself. Okay, there's nobody who is coming up with a scene and putting that in front of you like movies. You can use your imagination to build that scene or situation, right? So it's written so beautifully that you can imagine the whole thing on your own. So that is why it's so personalized and imaginary. That is what book does. So this is the meaning of the sentence. So you can come up with another sentence like, books help us to imagine or explore our own creativity, right? So this is another example. So you can come up with your own sentences also. If you feel that these sentences are a little complicated for you, you can choose a simple topic. Okay, you can choose any simple topic and you can start reading about it in simple English, in simple sentences, and start practicing in this way. So what you have to do is, first is you have to focus on each and every word. Second is you have to focus on the pronunciation. The third is you have to focus on the vocabulary. If you know the word, well and good. If you don't know the word, go and look it up in the dictionary and find the meaning. And then join all the meanings to understand what the sentence means. And once you have understood the sentence, what it means, try making a new sentence of your own, which says the same thing. Okay, which has more or less the same meaning. So this is what you can do when you are reading, or this is what you can practice while you are reading something. This is the best way to practice while you are reading. So this is what reading helps us in. I'm sure now you have understood how it will help us in speaking English or speaking better English. Of course, if you get to know words, if you get to know meaning of the word, if you get to know the pronunciation, if you get to understand the sentence well, if you're able to make new sentences, right? This all is going to help you while you're speaking in English. So that is why I said that these are the building blocks, or this is the foundation of how you can speak English fluently and confidently. So if you don't focus on reading, if you don't focus on the next thing which I'm going to talk about, listening is, then it will be very difficult for you to speak English fluently and confidently in lesser time. It will take more time for you. Okay, your journey will be very long then. So that is why focus on these areas. It's definitely going to help you. Now I'm coming back to listening also. Listening, I have spoken about listening in detail in other videos also, but here I'm just going to tell you how listening will help you in speaking better English. Okay, and comparing reading to listening also. Okay, because many of us are confused in whether we should read or not, or whether we should only listen to. Okay, so that is why I've come up with these two. So coming to listening, listening is very, very, very important. Okay, but unless you focus on what you are listening to, if you're not focusing on, it's of no use. It's of no use, guys. If since morning to evening you're listening to 10 things or 10 videos in English, it's of no use if you're not focusing on it. Okay, so whenever you're listening to, try to take out time which is a peaceful time for you, where you're able to concentrate or focus on. Okay, whether it is in the morning or while you're going to sleep, or whichever time, afternoon, or whichever time you are very focused on while you are traveling. You're sitting on the bus, you're sitting on the auto rickshaw, you're sitting on the car, in the car, of course you're not driving, or any means of transport you are traveling in. Okay, if that is a peaceful time for you, that is a time where you can focus on, start practice listening. Listen to any piece of information in English, focus on how the words are pronounced. Focus on each word, how the words are pronounced, what the sentence means, what the whole context of the information is about, or the video is about. So you have to understand the whole idea of what is spoken about. Okay, you have to focus on the pronunciation basically. How, in what tone it is said. You have to focus on a lot of things. Vocabulary, of course. If you don't know words, if you don't know their meanings, how will you understand the sentence? Right? So you have to focus on how it is pronounced, the individual words. Okay, what vocabulary, what is its meaning? If you don't know, of course, go and find out what it means. What is the basic idea of the whole video or whatever piece of information you're watching? What is the idea, what it says? Okay, you have to understand that. If you're not understanding, repeat it and again listen to it. Focus on in what tone it is said, how the words are emphasized. So you focus on a lot of things. Okay, if you focus on these things, definitely it's going to help you. And once you're done listening, the exercise which I'm going to talk about is what you can do is, once you're done listening, once you're finished listening to that piece of information, try to speak about it, what you have listened to, or what idea you got from that, or what information you got from that, or what you have learned from that piece of information. Repeat that. This is an exercise. Okay, this will help you to become fluent and confident in speaking English. Every time you listen to any piece of information, try to speak it in your own words. It will be very helpful to you, guys. So do these things while you are reading, while you are listening. Follow my advices. Understand what I'm trying to say. Focus on these areas. Definitely, it's going to help you from today. And if you start practicing it from today, right now, for 4 weeks, you are going to see a huge difference. I'm sure this session would have been an interesting and knowledgeable session for you. Start practicing this and you will see the difference. See you in my next video. Until then, keep watching, keep speaking, and keep exploring. See you. Bye-bye.